Okay, this is a third video. Let's start adding details to the project. We have a number of windows. We can go and take a look at them. I counted more or less, I think 17 columns in the exterior, and they have this kind of arc shape. So let's go. I'm thinking of this 6 feet and this like 4 more or less. Let's go back to Revit. I'll turn off the shadows. And under level 1, there's one ingredient that is quite important for us to learn, and it's the grid system. The grid allows you to generate, as the name indicates, it's a grid with a number. So those typically refer to structural elements in the project. I'm going to go back, Control-C to that. And first, we probably need to do some line work, some kind of preparation. I'm going to use the model line, just LI, and I'm going to just create here a little helper type of line and set this to 6 feet. Notice how this kind of helps you as you move. So you can stop in the 6 feet, come here. And I'm going to do the same this way, 6 feet, come down. And I'm going to select this one. There's a particular mirror option. There are 2 of them. One of them is withdrawing the line. The other one is picking the line. So I'm going to select DM shortcut and go to the middle point. And that copies the option here. I'm going to select this one, DM as well again. Go to the middle point, copies, and now I'm going to select by pressing Control both of these, DM, and selecting these 2, DM. Okay, so it's copying everything a little bit. I'm going to create the first grid. That's going to be from this point coming out. The first one typically is number 1. So, depending on the conventions, you typically go with number 1 on the bottom going up. So I'm going to go Control-Z, select the grid, and click here and make that the number 1. Only if you do Control-C, you will have the 0.1 here. So we could just start copying, I guess, 18 units if we count the sides. So there's a command, if you select the grid, is the array option. We can ungroup here, so don't have that check. And then I think 18, let's see if that's correct, and make this one last. Okay, so that way you can click on the beginning and on the end, and it creates a number of units. I'm going to move the section I created, so it's a little bit in the middle, and count the grids 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 16. And then we will 16, exactly. So we're in good shape. We need to do some offsets here. So I'm going to do also LI, the model line, and do maybe 2 feet and LI 2 feet. You don't have to insert the symbol feet, but if you want to, you can do that as well. I'm going to create LIs to indicate the position of the window, select all of it, and I could just CO copy those. I could do an array as well and make it faster just to indicate other ways of doing the same thing. When so many of them, probably makes much more sense to do the array anyway. Okay, so that's that. In theory, we will have these 2 also here. And these 2 copied here. Okay, I'll go to 3D. And notice how those model lines are in green. We will typically delete them afterwards. And we're going to start modeling those windows. So I'm just going to take a look closer. And let's just start. We're not going to be able to obviously detail this building. It's very complex, but we can at least set some window configuration. And I haven't gone there to measure this thing. So I'm going to have to improvise and have some proportionality. So I have the green lines here and here. The height, I could call that like 4 feet as well, and 4 feet on the bottom. So the way to generate openings that are unconventional, it's through the edit profile command. It's going to tell you, wait a minute, you are attaching to the roof. So for a moment while you do this, I'm going to detach from the roof. So you say that's fine. It will turn magenta at the wall. So this allows you to create openings wherever you want them. You have all these drawing tools. While you have the X and check, you're almost editing the profiles. And if you do any opening inside, you will be doing those windows. So I'm going to create a bunch of lines that allows me to generate that opening step by step. I can't just insert anything because, again, it's not a standard element. So I'm going to create those lines vertically. I'm going to do an offset, Alt-F of 4 feet. So coming down and 4 feet coming up. TR is this command, which is the trim extend. The way it works, you click on one side of it and another one, and it creates that fillet condition. And I can repeat that command as many times as needed. I can do a circle, which is this option, go to the middle point, click at the end, select it after escaping, and B, it's the move command, go to the top point, come down. And now I need to do some trimming here. In order to do some good trimming, you need to do some splitting as well. SL, split element, or split element with gap. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to split element in the middle circle and use again TR in the trim option. Say this side with this side, this side, this side, and delete this one. Okay. If I were to say okay to that, you can see pretty much how it looks. That's an opening with a weird shape. You can come back as many times as you need and edit the profile. Again, it says detach with wall. You can say, don't show me this. And we do have here what seems to be like a floor condition, but we're gonna just make it a wall and open in the interior. So to do that one, it's not really square. So what I'm gonna do is just do some line work for a little bit and make this 4 feet, for example, and then come this way. And create lines with an offset of 4 feet. Yeah, you see, so it doesn't really feel that proportion. So once I select those two and move them up at least 2 feet and see how that looks. I think it's better, maybe even moving it another feet up. And I think that's about right. So I'm going to split SL here and here, and TR for the trimming option. And delete those guys. To edit this properly, you need to make sure you always have a polyline inside of the polyline of the wall. So things like, let me say, do not show this message. Things like this, if I create a line here somehow, and I say try, well, that's not going to work. It's going to say it's not a closed polyline within a polyline. So you say, yes, of course, continue, delete that one. It typically shows you where the mistakes are as well. So it's a good idea to do that. Okay, so that could be our point. We can select this one and CO for copy. And you can just use reference the green lines that we did before and copy one after the other one. Don't think in this case we can do erase. And then let's just make sure that the first one works. So you have a clear set of polylines. They're close. So you can say, okay. In here you have a number of windows there. We can already even go to level 1 and create a camera here, or expanding the look house camera, look in the interior, adjust maybe the window opening and see how that starts looking. This is typically the height of a person. Notice how you have the green lines. obviously we'll delete those things as we move forward. Okay, let's continue. Go to 3D. We need some, obviously, booleans. So the way we're going to do this, because again, it's not a conventional window. We can't just set a window that the way we have explained in class. It has to be the window of this project is very specific, very unique. No? So what we're going to do is a model in place option. Yeah. Model in place is the best option to do things that are basically not standard out there. And you're not going to find the window that you want for this project. So we have to actually generate ourselves. When you enter this command, the first thing it asks you is, well, what is it that you're modeling? So I'm going to select the window. We're going to give it a window. So let's call it like window side or something. So you know, large and curved, something like that. Okay, everything tones down and you enter a new configuration. That configuration is configuration where it kind of looks a little bit close, similar to Rhine in that sense. You have extrusion blends and revolves and things like that. So we need extrusions and to do a lot of them. While you're doing extrusions, you're gonna have the yes, I'm done, or the no, I cancel, and then you have the drawing options. It's a similar way as before. We're gonna be drawing polylines in order to do extrusions. So for example, or if you do something here and you say, okay, that would be an extrusion that you can manipulate the parameters there. I'm going to control C that. This is not what we want. We want to do extrusions on the wall of the facade. So we need to set, click there, pick plane, and then select, make sure it turns blue, the one that is vertical there. Click there, and then you can even show, okay, I'm working on this particular plane. That's good. Turn it off again. And now you can start creating the same type of extrusions on that wall. Say, okay, and then it creates those extrusions. Similarly, you can create polylines within polylines to do what we are thinking of doing in order to do those mullions. So then we can assign a material right here. So let me actually go back with that. And what I'm going to do is use the pick line. So it's the green option in many of these tools that allows you to pick the size. Don't pick any of these ones. You want exactly the edge of the window. And I'm going to take advantage and do these ones as well. If you click by accident somewhere, it will create a line. You can just continue and then escape and delete that one. It's no problem. So now that I have those two polylines, if I say OK, it's going to create, obviously, this situation, which is not exactly what we want. So I'm going to go back and back. And what we're going to do is an offset, OF. And then we need numerical, and not for feet, but for inches, more or less. This allows to do an offset of a line, but if we click the tab button, it selects the chain of lines. So again, you stay on top of one with the dash line looking to the interior, tab, click. Same goes here, tab, click. So we could already say okay to that. And notice how we can see the beginning point of a mullion in a way. And stir it in different ways. We could do that numerically. But we want to do, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do much more set of details. So it's two vertical lines that are not in the middle. So I'm going to do a line here. I'm going to place it and notice how I can see the dimensions, maybe at 4 feet going up. Make sure it's vertical. An offset OF going in this direction. And then a DM or mirror. Click the middle point, this guy. And then it duplicates that. So, that's creating some things. So we need to do some work, of course, now, which is splitting a number of times and trimming a number of times. So this trimming, I'm gonna split, 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 and TR, trim, trim, delete, delete. SL, split, 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 TR, trim, trim. And again, SL, and TR, SL, TR, and we can delete this once we don't need. SL, we could just start doing a lot of SLs here and then do all of the TRs. So in this case, only one here. TR. Continue with the same trim option and delete this device. So we have a number of polylines. If you have any mistake, like for example, something like that, it's going to tell you, well, that's where the problem is. You don't say quit sketching, you say continue. You solve that problem and making sure that this is a clear polyline. Again, we can change those parameters, extrusion end, extrusion beginning. I'm going to Control C just to go back to that. So there's a number of other lines, maybe that horizontal one, and this one could be good to have. So I'm going to do a line here, an offset. I'm just going to do 2 in one direction and 2 in the other one, and delete the center one. I could extend this. I can just select the edges to do that and do SL. And in this case, we need to trim all of those. SL, TR, SL, TR, SL, one time, TR, and they just cancel things around. There's a line there in the middle we're going to do, so we can just go from this point down, do that, select and bring it out, and then an offset of 2 to the top and to the bottom, and do the same as oops, sorry, this one is not necessary. So TR. A mistake there. Control C, other TR. Okay, feels in good shape. So that's that. So it says 1 foot extrusion end. What we could do is here, I don't know, something like 4 feet to the interior and 0 here. And notice how that changes. Maybe we need to do a minus here. Goes in the opposite direction. And actually what we probably need to do is minus 4 and minus 8 or something like that. Goes to the interior. Okay, so we don't know really what material is this, but the way we could assign material is through these 3 points under material setting. Pops up this one, and what we could do is for now just say it's an aluminum, and we can change that in the future. Okay, we have one. You could either finish the model and then select that element and copy it around this number of times, but I would probably recommend edit in place and creating also a window panel, window pane of this. So the way we will do that is create another extrusion, another peak, making sure we're working on same wall, which is that one. Show, yes, we are, we're good. And then picking green lines, exterior ones. the ones we started with in the previous project. Oops, Control C. If I say OK to that, definitely need to change these parameters. Say -1 feet. Let's see if that works. -1 and not know 1 inch, for example. Let's see where it goes. Seems okay. Probably at this point we can select that form. Here's the tricky thing: if you can't really select it easily, you need to press tab to the different parts and different elements that are there. Another thing you can do is basically say finish model, going back to level 1 and see that the glass is a little bit way behind, so you can select it here, edit in place. Well, I'm gonna have to change it on the 3D view. Interior. There's a command WF, which is wireframe to see through. You can select this one, say wireframe here. And notice how the glass is right there. And now we can just change those parameters. So it's actually probably better 8 inches minus 0.8 and 1. Let's see where that goes. Okay. And one. And what we can do now? -1, -1, 1. So 0 space 11 1 there, so 0 10 0 11. That makes sense. Let's see if that looks good. We definitely need to select the window panel and select the material for that. And this one we know will be a glass component, so we can just select glass and say glass right there. Say OK, do that and finish model. And we can go back to the hidden lines and to the exterior. And now we can start looking at things a bit more with shading options, different consistencies, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to leave it in hidden line. Now we can select that this particular model is made of a mullion and a window panel. So now I can do CO for copy, and I can use the green references, and it will go to the same exact points I need it to be. Okay, let's see if that's moving. No, it's not. So make sure. Oh, that's not working. So let me try something else made from there. There's something that we're going to be needing to change, and it's where the sections are happening and in plans. So the plans are actually cutting a particular height, but they probably need to cut a little bit higher. So we can do that by going to the level 1, not select anything, come down to the B range. And when we are in the B range, this pops out, and this is typically where you cut 4 feet. Just gonna take that higher. So what it does by doing that is that you're cutting above the sill of the window. So that's actually quite important. And now I see that, yes, I have still the problem with the window pane, so I can edit in place. What I'm going to just do is again, add this extrusion start. So it goes in that direction, which means I need to take this 8, 0, 9. Not yet. 7, 8 probably. So I'm just trying to place that window panel exactly within the mullion configuration. So there we go. So this starts making much more sense how we want it to look. Okay, so now we should be able to copy this in plan, and hopefully we should be able to use the green lines one after the other one. In 3D, it was giving us some issues, so probably better in plan. I could use also the ray. Okay. We go back to our camera, which actually was created before. Whenever you do a camera, it's just creating that view there, which we can right click and rename and call it interior main or something like that. And then just double click there to see what's going on. And, you know, we're getting something, getting some shadow studies, et cetera, So the next question will be, how do we actually do a mirror of this without having to model the whole thing? So let's go to the 3D. And what I would do is just literally delete this wall, go to the level 1. Maybe at this point we don't need the green lines, but I'm just gonna select all of this facade and then do DM, stands for the mirror. It's gonna take a little time because it has to duplicate all of those windows, the mullions and everything. Okay, so that gave it all. We go back to the interior view. Now we have all that under consideration. We should attach the base. This new wall here, selected, because before it had no line there. And I think obviously there should be more details that we don't know. I'm kind of adventuring a bit, so I'm gonna leave it there. Maybe one thing that we could do is create another level at the hive here in the middle of that area. So to do a level, we do to architecture level. And I'm just gonna make like maybe 16 feet from the level above. Snap there to the bottom one, escape, select, and just drag that line. Need to drag this carefully because you definitely want to drag it all the way. And that will be called level 3 automatic. That one was called 2, so we're gonna select this one and call it 2. Okay, gonna say yes to rename that. So we have basically roof, level 2, level 1. We also have sections that we can work with. Sections show that window configuration and where the potential levels are. So I'm just cleaning a little bit so they look good. Okay. At this point, I think, you know, we have obviously some windows here, some other windows there, but I'm just gonna place a simple door here. And in order to do that, you typically would go to doors and search for the doors you have here. There's only the single flash. I have this one because I loaded already, but you probably only have this one if you're starting with Revit. If you have been working with Revit for a while, you definitely have many more doors, but if you need to load any door, you will go under Insert and then load out of this family, and here open up like a web page in a way. You can go to doors, so all the results, you will select the door options, and then we're going to select the garage, like overhead rolling, say load. Then when you go back to architecture and door, you can find it here and place it, you know, wherever you need it to place it. So that will be in the middle. You could definitely go level 1, and you can see how the door is there. So you can change the parameters of that door, whether you do it here, just saying 18 and 18. So it's a bit bigger. You can, you know, just create windows here on the side if you want, but I'm just going to leave it a little bit relatively simple. I'm going to do DM, go to that middle point. Well, now we don't have a middle point in a way, so, but I could just copy this one, these two, to the next one by using also the pick host, although that will change it. So what you can do is copy it to the side, select it, pick new host. It's tricky about walls. I mean, doors that they belong to a wall, so you can click this other wall now, put it there. So that's how you can flip the position on the door. So it looks in the opposite direction. Flip it on the other direction as well. So then you have that situation. So it's a little bit of just trying to create some components. I'm gonna do two things, either, you know, select the green and maybe right click and hide category that will hide all of the green elements, but you could also, if you want, just delete those. So you can use the glasses here, say isolate category, and then just delete all of those because we probably don't need it anymore. But I would be careful with deleting things that you might need in the future. Okay, go back to the glasses, reset. Definitely want to save this. And what I'm going to do in the next video, it's just a bit of how we could think of trusses coming in here and completely with a structural element and a floor for the interior. Because if we look at this shaded, you see how the grass comes in, and it's not something we want to do. So last video will consist of those two things.